Good morning. Once again, we open ourselves to the presence of God in the gift of this new day, in the gift of life, in the gift of creation, in the gift of family and all who are near and dear to us. I'd like to share a prayer of Pope Francis, which he wrote in the joy of the gospel shortly after he became Pope. He says, "Lord, I have let myself be deceived. In 1,000 ways I have shunned your love. Yet here I am once more to renew my covenant with you. I need you. Save me once again, Lord. Take me once more into your redeeming embrace." Some years ago, I wrote a short poem for my father on his birthday. It only had 2 lines. I said, "I know what it is to be a prodigal son, to see your eyes light up whenever I come home." I wrote those lines shortly before my father died. At that time, he used to be sitting in the front room, looking out at the window, watching the traffic and the people passing. And when he'd see me walking by the window, his eyes would light up. That's what prompted me to write those words. I know what it is to be a prodigal son, to see your eyes light up whenever I come home. Isn't that what our relationship with God is really like? That God's eyes light up whenever we come home. John O'Donoghue wrote a beautiful blessing along the same lines when he said, "May you learn to see yourself with the same delight, pride, and expectation with which God sees you in every moment." In recent years, I've loved working with the children in the school preparing for their first Holy Communion, with their parents, with the teachers. And this year, Brother Frank, during the time when he was cocooning, he has made one of these plaques for each of the parents. Don't know whether you can see it, whether you can read it there. It might help maybe if I turn it around this way. It might look different. Most people find it hard to see what it says. Some people see it immediately. Others might have to squint. Or it's like maybe that you have to just be patient and wait until the answer is given to you, like a gift. Doesn't matter what age you are or how clever you are. But once you see what it says, it's like you don't forget it. It stays with you. You might lose it from time to time, but then you can go back because you know that it's there. We've often asked parents, where do they find God? Most people say they find God in the church, sometimes in the cemetery, going for a walk, holding a newborn baby, in the countryside. Maybe our experience of God is something like seeing the name of Jesus in this plaque. Sometimes I think it's like Al Pacino in that film, The Scent of a Woman, that we get glimpses of God. Many people can experience the presence of God in their care for the children or grandchildren, in reaching out to neighbours or to people in need. I think these days we can see God at work in so many people who are reaching out to help and to support those who are struggling or suffering during this time of virus. A big learning for me working with these children, with the teachers and with the parents, has been that we don't just receive communion, but that we are called to live in communion. We're called to live in communion with God. God lives in communion with us, and we're called to live in communion with one another and with all of creation. We're called in a special way to live in communion with the people that Jesus himself lived in communion with. And this makes a big difference in my life when I realize that God is working in me and through me and with me. And so once again, I finish with the words of St. Paul when he says, "Glory to you, Lord, whose power working in us can do infinitely more than we can ever hope or ask for or imagine."